Marie, and I'm here with a very special guest, RedRomina. Say hello.
Hello.
If you're coming from her channel, yes, we are continuing to talk about Cuba, except for me, we're gonna just strictly give you some tips if you're planning on visiting, some key things that you need to know before traveling, or you've probably been Googling and can't find the answer. First tip is currency.
Ooh,
yes,
it's a big one.
It is a big one. I didn't even know this prior to visiting. So there's CUCs, or Cooks as they call them, and that's the one that's like what, equivalent to the US dollar?
Yeah.
Yes. And then there's Cuban pesos,
which is one for the locals, the people who actually live in Cuba.
The biggest tip that I would offer you guys is when you're changing your money, definitely get CUCs, and when you're shopping at like a market, just make sure when you get your bill back that it says on the bottom of the CUC, this is convertible. I've heard stories of people, they get their change back and they don't realize that they're getting Cuban pesos. The value of the peso is like, I don't even know. I don't know if you had any experience with that or if you were like very attentive.
I actually had a very good connection who was able to, that I trusted to do the exchange.
The exchange of currency exchange.
Yeah, that's actually something that I would recommend, is to ask around for different rates. Not always getting the first rate is the best one. It might actually not be very good.
Yes, if you're lucky, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I had a local help me do the exchange.
Which is what I had as well, but
it's an insider tip. They're not really allowed to do that.
But you also have to be careful because there are people who will like exchange your money, but then they will give you money that you can't use.
Right. So I was fortunate enough to have someone that did it for me, and I was able to get 0.997 to US dollar, whereas at the hotel, so I stayed in a hotel and they're giving you 0.87 per the US dollar. So it's a really big difference. If you don't know someone that's trusted or a local or something like that, go with the hotel or try to maybe exchange your money beforehand. I would recommend. Play around with the rates, do your research.
It's good to get a little bit of money before you head over there because you never know what's gonna happen, but try to get, you know, the bulk of your money when you already get there because you are gonna get a better rate. Talking about bringing money, funny thing about Cuba is that it's very difficult to find any ATMs or machines or anything that will accept plastic. So do not
Don't bring your credit card.
Don't rely on your credit cards because, you know, so many people are like, oh yeah, I'll bring, you know, a few $100, but
and my cards
will be fine. But
not in Cuba.
Not gonna happen in Cuba.
Some places and some individuals will actually accept US dollars. For example, the driver that so fancy. No, the driver that we had for the day trips, he actually accepted US dollars because for his actual like mechanical parts, he can only buy them with US dollars. So he accepted it, but don't count it. Like, just take cash just for in case of emergency, and then it's gonna be easier to exchange. Moving on, what to pack, and like must-haves and must-not-haves.
Mosquito repellent. There's a lot of limited resources available in Cuba, so if there are a couple things that you rely on that you think is, you know, common sense, oh, they have to have that there, they might not have it.
They might not have it. A funny thing that a lot of people carried around, which I'm like regretting that I didn't, or I didn't buy one, fan, like an actual fan, like abanicos. I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of, I promise you, this is not a joke. AC is not also like freely given. And yeah, if you stay in a hotel, there's AC, but other than that,
everywhere else, it's pretty much
humid.
Just fans.
Yeah.
And maybe there might be like a little AC box in a window. I bought a fan.
You see?
When I was there.
You see?
Yeah, I bought a fan.
Yeah.
And it really came in handy.
Yeah.
Bring a little bit of sunblock. If you tend to get a little bit red, you know.
I get tan, so I'm good. But definitely bring sunblock. I wore sunblock every day on my face. The ladies, and if you're feeling like, don't be that girl that brings like 12 suitcases, okay? You don't even need heels. I packed a pair of platforms.
Yeah.
The streets in Havana, especially, are like or cobble, right? Or I don't know what the proper term is. And they're stone, so like walking in heels is a nightmare. You'll see the locals do it, but I wore flats the whole time, and it's like way more comfortable. I just packed a pair of sneakers for when I was like sightseeing. Yeah. Flip-flops for the beach, and then like cute flat shoes for the evening because you want to be comfortable if you go dancing or you walk the streets. I recommend the Classic Car tour.
Yeah.
They're really accessible. Obviously, it's like the hottest thing to do. Don't jump with the first car because like try to get like the best rate. I don't remember what we paid, but
I think mine was maybe $30 or something like that
an
for
hour?
like the hour.
Yeah.
But the guy was super nice, and it was,
We
you
ended up
know,
riding
it's
for
like
like
an
4 hours.
hour. I mean, it might be a little bit more,
Yeah.
a little less, but like what Janelle said is like you have to negotiate. So this goes for everything in Cuba. It's like if someone tells you this is $30, tell them,
no.
Can you make it 15?
Yeah.
You know, you kind of negotiate. Try not to be rude about it.
Oh yeah, don't be exaggerated either. You know, like there's some people that like negotiate. They're like, oh, this is 25. I want it for $1. Relax. We actually were in the car for like 3 hours, so we went everywhere. We did basically overview all Havana, and he would stop like, and we could take pictures, and it was a nice way to quickly. I was only there for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So that was like, for the limited amount of time, I think it was like the best way to see all of Havana and like drive through the neighborhoods. We stopped for lunch, we saw El Cristo, like all the touristy things that you should do. I think the classic car is definitely like, it's a must. Hotel versus Airbnb. I stayed in a hotel, she stayed in an Airbnb.
The Airbnb was super cool.
Yeah.
Cuba does not have a lot of Wi-Fi locations.
No.
You're not gonna get internet in
That's the next, we should do a whole other
That's a whole other thing. That's like, we need to start a podcast about that. So basically my Airbnb was right next to a park in which the towers were, where everybody goes to connect to the internet.
It's the Wi-Fi zone.
It's the Wi-Fi zone, yeah.
It's the best thing I've ever seen.
The apartment that I was staying at had a balcony that overlooked that park. So if you could like get up to the window and just
do it.
You could connect.
So did you stay in Airbnb? Because a lot of questions that I've gone into, because I've also looked into Airbnb, and I actually strongly, if I would go back, I would do Airbnb. What neighborhood did you stay? I've always been recommended, of course, like in Old Havana and also Miramar. It's a little bit off from the touristy side, but it's a very nice, it's kind of like middle class area.
I was actually walking distance to the Hotel Internacional.
Hotel Nacional.
Yeah. Not Internacional.
When you search Old Havana, do you remember when you were like doing browsing on Airbnb?
No, I actually just looked for, I looked for Havana, and then I looked for the ones that offered Wi-Fi.
Ooh, that's a smart way to narrow it down. What about communication-wise? When you got there, did you already plan a meeting point before you arrived? So you already knew like, okay, at noon I land, I should be there by 1 o'clock, wait for me in the front. I don't know, how would it work for?
I'd already planned with the owner of the hotel, of the Airbnb, and he actually does not live there. He lives in Germany.
What?
Yeah, so he lives in Germany.
Smart investor.
Yep, owns his apartment in Havana, and so the lady who helps him and takes care of stuff and makes sure that the people who are staying there are, you know, okay. And so she's the one who greeted us and explained everything, gave us a tour, taught us everything that, you know, we needed to know for the apartment.
Yeah.
And she was actually really nice. And it was like staying with family because she just was there and available. She's the one who helped us get the cards for Wi-Fi and everything.
Nice.
She stood in line. It was cool to be able to buy stuff that we knew that she needed for her niece.
Yeah. So
then we got her stuff and then gave her stuff. So it was a really nice experience. You know, something that I definitely wouldn't have gotten if I had stayed at a hotel.
I went with my best friend and her mom, and they were also just, our trip was very last minute, let's be honest. And so staying in a hotel was like the way to go in for us. It was obviously super convenient. Everything was great, you know, clean towels, you know, double bed, but the hotel was absolutely beautiful, nothing to worry about. Wi-Fi though at the hotel still managed to be horrible. Like some of us were able to access the Wi-Fi in the room. We each had a card, so with the reservation, it gave us like I believe like a couple, like 15, like it was 15 hours.
Yeah.
So per guest, we split it up 5, 5, and 5, and then you can buy the cards there like $1.50 or something like that. But the cards are only last you an hour, so you have to like sign off if you want to save it, and sometimes that wouldn't work. It was like an ordeal. So last day, I didn't talk to my mom at all, and my family was like freaking out. They're like, where is she? Because they're so used to, because even though I live in LA, my family still lives in Miami. They used to live with me. but we're so used to that instant access of a text message or a phone call. And like, so a whole 24 hours, you're just like, she died. But they work like that though. So I had made me a social butterfly. So I made like friends with other locals, and we're like, okay, so nos vemos aquí a las 6. You know, like it's true to the word. So like, because we can't call you and be like, are you on your way? I'm like, I wish we would do that here. Everyone's like 6. At 6 they text you like, oh, I'm leaving my apartment now. The next thing that I want to talk about is visas. So I got my visa at the airport. Same day of my travel. It was $100.
I think it just depends on your situation. So the visa that I got was for reconnecting with family.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. So it's like I have information, but I don't have all of it because shout out to Christina Watkins. She helped me out. She's my best friend Carla's mom. So she like really like with this last minute trip like really went like hands in. And I think she put I think it was people to people.
Yeah, people to people. So that's most people who go to Cuba will most likely get people to people. Under that, I think like journalism is probably like the next thing.
How many days in advance did you do it before the trip?
No, I did it like maybe a couple weeks before.
I will tell you this too. I don't know if they told you this. So if you mess up on your visa, you have to pay again for a whole new form. So the next topic we want to talk about is restaurants. I strongly recommend that you go eat. We briefly touched upon this. Well, we actually kind of got into depth in her channel if you haven't checked out her video, or if you're coming from her channel, Paladares. You get so much more for your money in the end, because I also ate at Ivan Chef. Amazing food. Like I know he's like, you know, recognized in the culinary world, but the bill was like almost $150 for 4 people. When you go to Paladar, you can get a meal for like, you can get even alcohol, beverages $2, $3, food for like $4 or $5, and like they're, I mean, you're full. Transpo. So like we mentioned, classic cars. You know, that's more like a tour thing. I don't think you necessarily need to take a classic car to get around.
You don't have to do a classic car tour, but some of the taxis are actually in the classic cars.
Yes. We didn't do a BC taxi. That's the bicycle taxi.
Right.
There's an option for that too.
And there's the Coco taxi, which is like this little taxi that's so cool. Literally shaped like a coconut, like half a coconut.
It's like a dome thing, half a dome. Like,
and there's just a guy on a bicycle. Just,
Like, a bicycle is a motor.
It's like
a
motor.
moped kind of thing.
You go.
Like a moped, and then there's like regular cars.
That's so much fun. I wish they had that like everywhere.
Yeah, the Coco taxis are awesome. So those are your 3 forms of commute.
And a personal driver, which is what I had. I had a personal driver. I would pay him a daily rate, and he would just...
The hotel was like estimating for a day trip to Varadero, which is an hour and a half away, and we also did Viñales, and he charged us about $180 round trip in an air-conditioned car. Yeah. It's like one of the newer cars. It was like a Russian, I hadn't even know the name. Yeah. But like the hotel was giving us an estimate of like $267 or something crazy like that. Last but not least, making the most of your trip. As you know, I don't know if you do this as well, but every trip I go, I make a mini itinerary based on like where I'm staying. Like do your research. There are a couple things like, yes, you can be spontaneous and kind of be like wherever Cuba takes me, but there's just so much to see. I think it's very like it's easier to, you know, okay, I'm in Havana, we're gonna go see La Bodeguita del Medio, you're gonna go have a daiquiri at Floridita, and then you're gonna go to the Hotel Nacional and do, you know, I strongly recommend that you do that. If you do a day trip to Varadero, stop at Matanzas and check out, there's a cave that I got to visit, I'll post it here. Like kind of like plan like things that are not in your norm, like you can create your pit stops that like are en route. Yeah. I did that for Varadero, and then for Viñales, we also stopped at like another cave as well. There's a cave like within Viñales that was kind of cool, but it was like we went horseback riding in Viñales, so it's kind of like if you got to do the countryside, there's like kind of like points where you should stop. Just make the most of your day, I'd say is my take.
We talked about that in my video, that Cuba is actually really big and it's like really spread out. Going from one place to another will take you time, and there's just so much to do. Like, I mean, I was waking up so early in the morning and I would get back to Havana really late at night. People ask me like all the time, how long did you stay there? Like, did you like, where did you stay in Viñales? Like, where did you stay here? And it's like, no, I actually didn't stay there.
I didn't stay,
But it makes it look like I did stay there for a really long time because I just did so much because I just do so much in one day.
I was literally there for 3 days and like that, like they were like, you're there for a week? I was like, no, I wasn't. But so plan your trip. My battery's gonna die. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. If you haven't checked out RedRomina's video and our discussing about our take on Cuba and so much more, just check it out on her channel. And if you haven't done so already, give us a thumbs up if you like this video and subscribe. Till next time, peace, deuces.